I've helped hundreds of thousands of people transition to retirement, and I'm going to talk about some of the pitfalls, some of the mistakes people make, and make sure you succeed. All right, this is also a live Q&A because the most important part of retirement and in transitioning to this next chapter of your life, the best, the most awesomest chapter of your life, is to make sure whatever you decide is right for you. This is one of the keys of the entire thing is people listening, even people listening to me. Don't listen to me. I'm going to give you a bunch of questions you should ask yourself for each stage of your retirement, and how you answer them, it determines what path you should take. Okay. So in order to move on to retirement, a lot of us, when they're talking about retirement, specifically for Social Security, when you file for retirement, when you're early retirement, so under your full retirement age, then you're limited to the amount of money you can make. So some people, work forever, like me, 70, 80, 90 years old, and they can't start collecting Social Security until they hit their full retirement age because Social Security holds back $1 for every $2 you go over. This year it's the 23,400. Anything you make over $23,400, if you file early before your full retirement age, then Social Security takes back that $1 for every $2 you go over. But in terms of money, the mistakes I see is people not claiming their retirement benefits at the correct time, and they're claiming the wrong type of benefits. They should have filed for retirement and tried disability at the same time, or tried for disability and then retirement, or divorced spouse or surviving spouse is a big one that a lot of people are making mistakes on. Spouse benefits, divorce spouse benefits, and independently entitled divorce spouse benefits. So it's important that you do it at the right time. You file for benefits at the right time. And I've got over 1,000 videos. Just to Google what your specific situation is, and I'm sure I have a video for that. And again, because it's all specific to your particular case, I'll talk about this portion should last about another 10 minutes, and then I'll open it up to questions. Looks like we already got a lot of questions. If you're watching this recording, make sure you come back. All right, so money is obviously extremely important, and if Social Security, it was always intended to be a supplement to your pension and your savings. Unfortunately, a lot of people, pensions have kind of, not many organizations out there give pensions anymore. But savings, if you have like a 401k or an IRA or Roth or whatever the case may be, but there's a lot of people out there that don't. So if you're good, you're going to file for retirement, and you know what benefit you're going to file for, you know when you're going to file for it, and you've got other money out there, that's fine, that's beautiful, it's awesome, congratulations. But remember, there's a lot of people out there that don't, and part of this channel is to help those people that are out there that are struggling. About 40 to 50% of Americans are surviving, retirees are surviving on Social Security alone. And when the average check for Social Security is about $1,900, that is a very, very difficult road. So I've done several videos on this. This is probably one of my the most recent, living on Social Security alone. So check out that video. And in the video, I offer I go over about 50 different programs that might help you help those people around you. Again, this is not only for you. Please watch this for other relatives and coworkers and little old lady down the street. Have them watch this video. Watch this video with them and say, hey, that's a good idea. Let's see if we can get you some more benefits there, make your life a little bit easier there. So make sure you check that out. I've done several videos like that, but this is my most recent one. All right. Another thing is, when you start your Social Security retirement benefits, you can change your mind. A lot of people think, well, okay, I started my retirement benefits, I guess I'm stuck, I can't do anything. No, there's different options you can do once you file your retirement benefits. You can withdraw your application within 12 months, completely withdraw it, and like it never happened. And because it never happened, then whatever money you have received, you have to pay that back. So the withdrawal is not effective until you actually pay that money back. And you can only do that within 12 months. If you're receiving retirement benefits and then, like me, after about a week of retiring, you get bored and you decide to do something stupid like do a YouTube channel, here I am, then you can work. Absolutely. You just have to call Social Security and file what's called a work report. You just call Social Security and say, hey, yeah, I thought I wasn't going to go back to work, but I got bored, or this friend offered me a job. So I'm going to make way over the annual earnings limit, the 23,400. And they'll say, how much are you going to make? I'll probably make, 40, 50, 60, 70, whatever. And then they will just stop your checks for those particular months. So if, again, you're $10,000 over, then they'll hold back $5,000. If your benefit amount is 2,000, they'll hold back the first 3 months. And you're like, three divided, that's more. That's 6,000. They can't release a partial month, so they can only do full months. So they'll withhold the 3 full months. So you can go back to work and continue to, and just put your benefits in suspense. What happens then? You don't necessarily lose that money. Once you hit your full retirement age, they have a system that's called ARF, adjusted reduction factor. Say, for instance, if you took your benefits 30 months early, your benefits are reduced by 30 months. But then after 10 months, you go back to work and you don't get those checks. So you only got 10 months worth of checks. So once you hit your full retirement age, Social Security computer system automatically, completely automatically, you don't have to do anything. The computer system automatically looks at how many months you actually receive those checks. And one day you were reduced by 30 months, and computer system recalculates and says, okay, you only took 10 months worth of benefits. So we're going to reduce your benefits by 10 months for the rest of your life. So you can change your mind and decide to go back and, work and whatever the case may be. And there's the final option is, if you're receiving benefits and you're getting close to your full retirement age, you can actually suspend your benefits. It's called voluntary delayed retirement credits. This is one that almost nobody knows about, including Social Security employees, because not many people do it. But voluntary delayed retirement credits, you can suspend your benefits to get those delayed retirement credits. Delayed retirement credits are every year that you delay your benefits, receiving benefits after your full retirement age, it increases 8%. And they prorate it every month, but 8% per year. So if you wait 3 years, that's an extra 24% above and beyond what you would receive. And those delayed retirement credits, they can't go to a current spouse or a divorced spouse. They can only go to a current spouse or a divorced spouse when you shuffle off your mortal coil. So for surviving spouses, though, they do receive your delayed retirement credits, but not if you're still out there. All right. So and when you're going to retire, don't listen to anybody because a bunch of videos out there on social media says you're dumb if you don't file at 62. You're dumb if you don't file for benefits at 67. You're dumb if you don't file for 70. All those videos are pretty much dumb. It really depends on your particular situation. Do you need the money? If you need the money and you're 62, then obviously it's a slam dunk. You start your benefits if you're going to be under the annual earnings limit. So working is a question when you're going to start your benefits. Do you have auxiliaries? What does that mean? If you have a current spouse that's waiting for you to collect benefits so they can collect benefits, if you have children under the age of 18 or children that became disabled under the age of 22, they are waiting for benefits until you file. So they can't receive benefits until you start receiving your benefits. How healthy are you? If you've got really good genes, really healthy, then some people say maybe 70 is the best, or maybe taxes. It's like, okay, yeah, I'd like to go ahead and start, but that's going to put me in a higher tax bracket and it's actually going to defeat the purpose. And I don't do taxes. So you have to talk to your tax person about that. Are you smarter than Social Security? Well, in terms of investing, everybody's smarter than Social Security. Because Social Security invests in the most safest, place in the planet. There's so many countries that invest in American Treasury bonds, and people say, "Oh my gosh," but your 401k and your IRA and all that kind of stuff is probably in Treasury bonds as well. So it's one of the safest investments in the world. So if you're better at investing, maybe get that money out and invest. And one thing I've never really added before is politics. Because there are going to be cuts coming down. If we don't do anything, there are going to be cuts coming down. We look to be about, as of right now, about 2033 or 2034, they're going to be 21% cuts if nothing happens. So it's not going to happen during this current presidential administration. it's going to happen soon after. And so we have to get on the ball, be serious, and make sure those don't happen. If the current administration gets some of the things they're talking about, getting rid of taxes for Social Security, which is a good idea, but it's also going to deplete the trust fund quicker, then those cuts are going to happen sooner. So if you don't want cuts, now is the time to reach out to your politicians and tell them to do their job. They haven't done their job in 30 years. They should have fixed this. So all presidents and all politicians for the last 20 or 30 years are 100% responsible for the upcoming cuts. Health wise, so we talked about your money. Let's talk about your health insurance. Um, a lot of people, they copy their neighbors, and their neighbors say, "Oh, I've got X and X plan and I really like it." And they say, "Okay, well, the whole health thing is healthcare is a nightmare, so I'll just copy what my neighbor Bob says." But Bob might have different issues, health issues, might be healthier than you, might not be less healthy than you, have different doctors, have a different budget. So always, always, always check out what's specifically good for you. And remember, you don't have to sign up for health insurance at 65 years old for Medicare. For Medicare, at 65 years old, if you're currently receiving health insurance from current work, yours or your spouse's. So if you have health insurance from current work, yours or your spouse's, and that employer has 20 or more employees, you do not have to sign up for Medicare. You do not have to call Social Security and say, "Hey, I have health insurance. I'm not going to sign up for Medicare." You don't even have to do that. You just don't do anything. And then once you reach that time when you're going to stop receiving that health insurance from work, then there's just a couple of forms you have to fill out. You take one to your HR and they say, yeah, 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 this person had health insurance from work since they turned 65. And you can go ahead and sign up for Part A, Part B, and no penalty whatsoever. But signing up for Medicare is great. Part A and Part B, they're great. It should be a lot better. They should include dental, vision, and hearing, but that's a whole different, several other videos. But there's a lot of gaps. The biggest one is in Part B. Part B has a 20% coinsurance. So if you go to the doctor and get a $100,000 Band-Aid, you have to cough up $20,000, 20%. So that's why people get a plan. And again, don't listen to your neighbor or something like that. You can start by listening, but each specific case is each specific case. So always, 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 I recommend starting with a Medicare supplement plan. Check out a Medicare supplement plan at N or Plan G. Check those out first. That way you avoid the prior authorizations and the declining networks and all the rest of it. But a lot of people, the reason they don't get that is it's a budget issue because the Medicare supplement plans, there is a monthly premium for those. So a lot of people go the cheap route and they get a Medicare Advantage plan. 51% of people get a Medicare Advantage plan. And that's the time you really shouldn't listen to your neighbor about which plan they like because there's probably dozens and dozens and dozens in your plans in your particular area. And which one you choose 100% depends on what doctors you want to continue seeing, your prescriptions, how much those are, what other type of needs. Do you get more MRIs or CAT scans or days in the hospital? Do you need dental, vision, all this other kind of stuff? So it really depends on your particular situation. So you can reach out to my partners there at Chapter, wherever this is. Yes, Chapter, and they can help you out. They'll free. This is also the open enrollment period. So if you have a Medicare Advantage and you figure you picked the wrong one this last time around, or you forgot to check yours, or if you're in a Medicare Advantage and want to switch back to original Medicare and get a Medicare supplement plan, you can do that. January, February, March of every year. So now's your opportunity. But for a Medicare supplement, probably in your particular state, in most states, you'll have to go through health underwriting. So if you're healthy, and you want to get out of the whole Medicare Advantage thing, then yeah, reach out to Chapter and they can see if they can switch you back to original Medicare or switch you to another Medicare Advantage plan that's best for you. Okay, and then Ikigai. What is Ikigai? Ikigai is kind of, you have to find something that you're passionate about. I worked for an old Marine Corps sergeant. For people new to my channel here, I ran the third busiest Social Security office in the country, and kind of type that always likes to stay busy. So I'll probably continue making these crazy videos for the next few decades. But you have to find something that you're passionate about. A lot of people, they define their life by their work. And then when they stop working, I have seen this way, way too many times. When I worked at Social Security Administration, I've taken hundreds of thousands of retirement claims, survivor claims, disability, spouse claims, and I unfortunately a lot of times I take somebody's retirement claim and I just a little small talk. Say, what are you gonna do now? I'm not gonna do anything. I worked for 50 years. I worked my butt off for 50 years. I'm not gonna do nothing. I'm gonna sit around and do nothing. And I'm like, okay, well, great, awesome, awesome. And then the following year, guess what happens? Spouse comes in to file for a surviving spouse claim. And I say, I think I remember I helped this person file for retirement. What happened? So he stopped. She just stopped. And once you stop, then yeah, it's hard to get going again. And unfortunately, a lot of people shuffle off their mortal coil. So you have to find something to keep you active, spoil the grandkids, spoil the kids, travel, volunteer, all the rest of it. So this is a Japanese term type ikigai. You got to find your meaning in life, and I try to find a kind of a an American popular culture, and let's see how many people recognize this curly.
Do you know what the secret of life is?
No, what?
This.
Your finger?
One thing. Just one thing.
That's great, but what's the one thing?
That's what you gotta figure out.
There you go. That one thing you got to figure it out. Old Jack Palance from City Slickers. Remember the old Ripley's and Believe It or Not? He used to do those as well. So great. Yeah, he actually won an Academy Award for supporting actor for that one. All right. So yeah, you just have to find something to keep you going, keep you out of trouble, as I am trying here. All right. So as I said, this is all about asking questions and whatever is specifically appropriate for your particular situation. That's what you got to do. And in light of that, let's start answering some questions. So we got tons of questions here on all things Social Security, Medicare. Let's go through the list. Wilson, what's up, Wilson? My wife and I are planning to retire at 65. We always file together, a full age of 67. I will collect FERS. You mean, are you talking about FERS? That is FERS, the Federal Employee Retirement. So you're a federal worker. Can we work part time after we retire? How much each can do make annually? Okay, so yeah, the fact that you file together, that's not relevant. It's based on each one of yours work. So if you are going to find something else, another profession or something, you're going to retire from your work, try find something else. Awesome, but you're limited. This year in 2025, it's $23,400. So anything over that, Social Security will hold back $1 for every $2 you go over. And for each of you, so for husband, 23,400, and wife, 23,400. The fact that you all file your taxes together, um, that's not how it's calculated. It's calculated on what you earn. If you have, if you all start a business, and you both own the business and then you have net income for business, then you have to figure it out who's going to get the net income from business, who's going to, whose Social Security number is that going to be, you know, um, sent into the IRS based on. Okay. All right. Let's see what other questions we have here. Take and took, what's up? Pretty much any adult who's paid into FICA will be in that database. So a lot of children who are disabled or headed a deceased parent, they could commit ID theft on all of us. Oh yeah, I'm going to talk about yeah, Elon Musk, and a lot of people out there are speculating. What's he going to do with that database? That the career bureaucrat who was in charge of it said, no, I'm not going to give you the keys to the kingdom, and I guess Elon, yeah, whatever. But I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. And a lot of I don't see anybody in media. Everybody is like, what could he do? What could he do? I could tell you what he could very well do for Social Security, but I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. I've got a separate video on that tomorrow. I work for a public school district in California. I will be applying for disability Social Security for severe depression and anxiety. I am 50 and have 35 years of work credits. How can I better be prepared to be approved? I did a series of videos, 3 videos on filing for Social Security disability, tips, tricks, and secrets. So you work for a public school district in California. I wonder if did you pay into FICA, or is that one of those non-covered? If you paid into FICA, then you should be good. You should be insured and currently insured and all that kind of stuff. But if you did not pay into FICA, because a lot of, in Texas, the teachers in Texas and California and Nevada and different places, they don't pay into Social Security. So that is one thing you definitely need to check. You did pay, so those public employees like that, that opted out of the FICA, those are those 3%. That's the whole thing about the Social Security Fairness Act, is addressing those 3%. If you did not pay into Social Security, you paid FICA, but you didn't pay the Social Security part of FICA. You did pay the Medicare part of FICA. So a lot of people miss that, and they don't file for disability because they figure, well, I didn't pay into it. I can't get it. But you did pay into the Medicare. So it's called an MQGE, Medicare Qualified Government Employee. And you can file for disability so you can get your Medicare started early, because normally, Medicare starts at 65 years old. But if all you did is pay into Medicare, apply for disability, and then your Medicare will start after 2 years. So, but in terms of disability from whatever, but yeah, watch those 3 videos I did on filing, um, for disability. So a trade war pretty much ends most of us. Yeah, that's how we fail. Our stocks tank. Yeah, yeah. And one of the things about tariffs is that because it increases the price of goods for us, when they redo the calculations next year for cola, cola will be a lot higher. And people say, "Oh, great, cola's higher." But the reason cola is higher is because we paid more for goods, so inflation went up. So it's actually cola is supposed to you know balance everything out. But the problem is if they pay a lot out of into cola, your cola is a lot next year, then that's actually worse, because that takes more money out of the Social Security Trust Fund. And the Social Security Trust Fund, that's the 2034. That's the 2034 is when the Social Security Trust Fund is going to be depleted. It's going to be empty. So starting at that time, then Social Security will only be able to pay out, 70, 73, 75% of benefits. So that's why we're going to get a cut, because there's no more savings left there. So, yeah. So, and same type of situation. So if you do the tariffs, that's going to hurt Social Security in the future. If you do the no taxes on Social Security, that's going to hurt Social Security. It's not going to help the people, the 40 or 50% that just live on Social Security alone, because the people that just receive Social Security alone don't pay taxes on their Social Security. So it's not going to help them. It's just going to help, the people that have other income, coming in. And because those taxes are no longer going to come in, that's another cut. So that's why when I put up this little graphic here, the 33% cut by 2031. So that's if the tariffs and the Social Security and the no taxes on Social Security, no taxes on tips, and all the rest of that stuff. If that passes, then the cuts are going to be deeper and they're going to be sooner. And just don't take my word for it. In the YouTube description of this video, you can go to the YouTube description and you can see the Social Security Trustees Report and the Actuary Report and the Congressional Budget Office. So just don't listen to me. The resources are in the description. So check those out, and contact your politicians accordingly. Let's see. My wife, hey, John, my wife, who is a teacher, just submitted for Social Security benefits, hoping that by April, windfall elimination deduction would be eliminated. Given slowness of system, should she cancel benefits until system is worked out? No, you've done the right thing. I've done a few videos on this, that people that are have been subject to the WEP and the GPO, they should reach out to Social Security and get a protective filing. So that's what you did, is a protective filing. So you're in the system. It's just that Congress, when they wrote the Social Security Fairness Act, which I think is unfair, but I'm going to shut up on that one right now. But if you read it, HR 82, it's only basically 2 sentences. Typical Congress, they do their easiest political hit job they possibly can, and then leave it to Social Security to, to work out all the millions of details. And They didn't get they did not give Social Security the resources to act on that. So why isn't Social Security doing this, that, or the other? Because Congress didn't give them the resources to do this, that, and the other. And that's Congress's fault. So they control the purse strings. And that's why Social Security is at a 50-year low in terms of staffing, because as I talked about before, politicians don't want you to get your money. Um, so yeah, you just have to. We used to say in the Marine Corps, yeah, hurry up and wait. Yeah, but anyway, but you did the right thing there by filing. I retired at 67 and 8 months and signed up for Social Security to begin February 2025. However, I turned 68 3/27. Is it worth suspending and pay back my benefits and have my benefits start at 68? It's 100% depends on you. So it looks like it's only gonna a month or two. So what you do is say, okay, my I'm going to get $3,000. So you get $3,000 a month. So that's $6,000. So you're going to get $6,000 ahead of the game, money in your pocket, but you're going to lose how much? $10. So you take that $6,000, divide it by 10 or whatever, and anytime I did those calculations, it comes out to like 13 or 14 years of break even point. So if you want to go through the whole thing and get that extra $10, but give up the, two or three or $4,000, then more power to you. All right, let's see here. Rosalinda, I work for a public. Oh, okay, I already answered that one. Okay, here we go. This is a dangerous one. Let me try it. Hypothetically, what if Ed had hair? Okay, anyway, what if they changed it so that SSDI benefits didn't switch to Social Security retirement benefits at 66 or 67? Would it make much of a difference to how fast the Social Security trust fund would deplete it? No, absolutely not. No, not at all. Because when they do the depletion and all that kind of stuff, they kind of join because the Social Security Disability Trust Fund is solvent, has more money in it for longer than retirement. Than the old age survivors, RSI retirement survivors trust fund. So they add those together, and that's why they come up with those dates. But yeah, no, it wouldn't make a difference because they basically add those two together. So I have been on SSDI for 2 years, am 60, and my husband is 66. Can he avail half of my SSDI? Yeah, he is at least 62 years old. You are receiving benefits. Yes. Not he won't get half because he's not his full retirement age yet. But yes, if his benefit amount is less than half of yours, then looks like you might be entitled to benefits on your record. So I'd reach out to Social Security, call the 1-800-772-1213 and have him file a spouse claim on your benefits. Yes. Debbie, please, everyone in chat, right? Call Congress, especially Republicans, enabling this. Yes, 100%. Contact, let me move this out of the way here. Contact your senator, representative. You can call the Capitol switchboard there. You can call the president, go onto their websites, say, I need help with a federal agency. What help do you need with a federal agency? I need the Social Security Administration to pick up the phones. And how do they pick up the phones? They have people on the other side to pick up the phones. This whole BS about telework is going to solve everything. Clay Higgins and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Once the employees go back to the office, everything will be hunky dory, and we'll get all free ice cream and free unicorns. It's all BS. They don't want to take responsibility because they have been attacking Social Security for decades. Not them personally because they've only been recently, but Congress has been attacking Social Security for decades because they want it to fail so they can give your money to the Wall Street billionaires. So let's make sure that doesn't happen. So go on to contact the local news, visit the politician's office, go on their social media. And the solution that most people on my channel like is raising the cap. If you make over $176,100, you don't pay FICA Social Security anymore for that anything you earned after that. So Elon Musk, he pays Social Security probably for 6 seconds. He probably doesn't pay it at all because they don't pay taxes a lot of times. So anyway, but yeah, for the rest of us, we pay FICA Social Security on every dollar we make all year. So contact your politicians and ask them what they're doing to solve Social Security to make sure that cuts are not happening in the future. What are they going to do to improve customer service? And yes, so please reach out to your politicians because we've been kicking the can down the road for decades, and there's no more road. So we have to act now, or we're going to be in big trouble. Okay, all right. Let me trade war. Will a widow filing a joint return with boyfriend cause them to lose their surviving benefits? No. Again, it doesn't matter how you file with the IRS in a situation like this. It's all about your particular income. So if and it sounds like you're also maybe you're under 60 and you're receiving survivor benefits, as you can receive survivor benefits, you know, if you're under 60. Uh, but if you get married, then those benefits stop. You can remarry after 60 years old. I think I'm kind of reading in between the lines. But filing a joint return with someone that's not considered marriage. So on SSDI, stuck overseas, report to my home USA office annually. Now they stopped my SSDI until I report to a foreign office. They stopped the benefits before they told me to report to the Philippines. Yeah, not sure what's going on there. If you did your, I'm still alive, letter and all that stuff. But not then they just changed it before you had to do it through snail mail when you're living overseas, but they changed it where you can do it on the phone now, but not exactly sure why the federal benefits unit in Manila needs to speak to you. Maybe it's a CDR, continuing disability review, whatever the case may be. So SSI is not socialism, is it? Well, SSI is a completely different program. That's supplemental security income. That's not Social Security, retirement, disability, or anything like that. There is a component of SSI, but SSI is a needs-based, welfare-based program, low income, low resources. So I guess if it, yeah. Just in time for an increase, one of my annuities is ending. My mistake. I get $411 of Social Security, should be 800 something, but for the windfall. Okay, yeah. So it sounds like the that windfall there, you're going to be getting an extra percentage that other people in your boat don't get. So the 3% get an extra percentage that the other 97% of people don't get. So, and politicians, including Biden and Trump and all of them, call that fair. And it doesn't sound like it's fair to me. But anyway, do you think this administration will cut off our Social Security? Um, there has been that kind of plan for decades. I've got the plan, the playbook in my description in my YouTube channel that they've been working on for decades. But one thing that kind of stopped it is Trump says, his campaign promise, which he just repeated again recently, last couple of days, that he's not going to cut Social Security benefits, or he's not going to, not going to cut retirement Social Security benefits, and he's not going to cut Medicare. He's not going to, raise the retirement age one day. So a lot of politicians, hated to hear that because that's exactly what they're going to do. But there are other ways. What are the other ways? Is to drown Social Security in the bathtub. So people that want to file for those benefits are not able to file for those benefits, and they file for the wrong benefits. And so that's the reason for my existence. That is my ikigai, I guess, right now. And tomorrow I'm going to talk about how Elon Musk can also cut benefits, but still keep with President Trump's promise. So I'm going to talk about that today, and a lot of media is not picking up on that. So hopefully the media picks up on it. The media, they're not experts in Social Security, so they don't understand but I'll talk about that tomorrow. Currently collecting survivor benefits, survivor widow benefits back in 2021. That more money is available to me off my own record. I will be 70 in May of this year. What info do I need to convert to my own record? Awesome, Sue. Awesome. Great job. So the local Social Security offices are supposed to send a letter to people like you. It's called a WIB-RIB letter. And it's basically saying, hey, you've been receiving survivor benefits and you didn't touch your benefits on your own record. And now, you know, especially when you hit 70 years old, your benefits are higher than what you're receiving right now. You have to actually file a claim. So this is not an automatic switch. I wish it was, but it's not an automatic switch. And there's a lot of people out there that are 71, 72, 75, 85 that they're more money on their own record, but they didn't get the letter, they threw it away or whatever the case may be, and they are not smart like you, Sue, and realize that they have to make that switch. But yes, you have to make that switch. So it is, you're talking about May this year. So I would call Social Security now, schedule an appointment, call the 800 number 772-1213, schedule an appointment to file for benefits on your own record. So they'll switch you from survivor to benefits on your own record, and make sure it happens in May, starts May, because your benefits don't go up anymore after the month you turn 70 years old. So you probably, in terms of documentation, you probably won't need anything because you've already proved your age when you filed for survivor benefits. You already proved your legal residence in the United States, citizenship, or whatever the case may be. So you're good. Super, 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 super easy. Let's see here. I'm jumping around a little bit. Oh, I already answered that a few times. I paid into SSA all my life, and can it be just canceled? Yeah, nobody paid into SSI. SSI is a welfare-based program. I guess, well, everybody pays in SSI because that, but those just come out of general funds. So that's general taxation. SSI is a completely different program. You're probably talking about Social Security. You paid into Social Security. That is more accurate. Can it just be canceled? Well, it can't be. Well, politicians can do anything, I guess. But what's going to happen in 2033, 2034, 2031, or whatever the case may be, again, is the trust fund that the baby boomers have been building up for their retirement. That it's gone up to what, $2.7 trillion. It's down a little bit now, but there's still a couple of $1 trillion plus in there, that the baby boomers are using. They put it in the bank, they put it in savings, and they're using it. Nothing wrong with that. But the problem is that money is going to be running out. And when it does, then Social Security can only pay out what it gets in. And that's where the cuts come from. As of right now, unless we make politicians do something. And what most of the politicians want to do is just scrap the whole system and give it over to their Wall Street buddies so they can make a whole bunch of money. And we are basically, yeah. Anyway, all right. I won't get into trade wars too much here. Will a widow filing a, okay, I already answered that one. Okay. Let's see. Jumping around. The Social Security office told me I had to wait until my divorced spouse starts to draw before I can draw offhand. Oh, that's, yeah. The offices are so inundated, and now they've got this other Social Security Act that they've got a Fairness Act thing they've got to adjudicate, and they're so understaffed, and they're just trying to, tread water. So the offices need to do a lot more training, but they don't have time to do training because there's, 500 people waiting on the phone. And this is what happens. So, Martha, no, they are 100% incorrect. It is called independently entitled divorce spouse benefits. And what you did is when you called Social Security or went down, you talked to a CSR, a customer service representative, which is the hardest working people at Social Security, but they're also generalists. They're at the front line and they do a little bit about everything. And unfortunately, they're not experts on, what they need experts in this particular case. You need to talk to a Title II CS, Title II of the Social Security Act, a claims specialist, what I was before I became manager. And they will you just tell them, okay, you call them up and you set up an appointment. And you say, I want to file for IEDS. And the people on the phone should know what you're talking about. Independently entitled divorced spouse benefits. And you had to be married to that person for 10 years or longer. You have to be finally divorced from that person for 2 years. So you're divorced for 2 years. And obviously, your benefit amount has to be less than half of their benefit amount. So you have to file for benefits on your own record. And then if his benefits are twice yours, then you can get that difference. So no, they were 100% incorrect, unfortunately. Yeah, I get that all the time. I am 60 years old, so please subscribe and share and like and share on Facebook. And if you got any famous relatives or friends, and tell them to tweet or retweet or whatever people do out there nowadays. Because there's, if Martha hadn't, come here, she would have been like the other tens of thousands of people that heard that, and they said, "Well, I guess I got to wait a few years," and they would have lost a few years worth of benefits. So we need to get this information out there. So please do whatever you can to, yeah, let's. Anyway, I am 60 years old and have no work history, and I am a resident here. Can I get SSI or wait until I am 65? Okay. So, yeah, if you're a permanent resident, you're in the country legally, then Social Security, it depends. You have to be in the country for a few years, depending on how you were kind of sponsored into the country. But if you are 60 years old, the only thing you get at 60 years old is surviving spouse benefits. For SSI, the welfare-based program, um, you have to be disabled. So for under 65, SSI is for people that are disabled that didn't pay into this or paid very little into the regular Social Security system. So SSI aged if you're over 65. So SSI again for you 60, it would be disability. You'd have to be disabled. Um, the only other thing is, even if you didn't work or anything, if you were married to anybody that did and paid into the system and, you know, passed away, then you can collect survivor benefits. If that person is still out there alive and kicking, then you might be eligible for benefits when you reach 62. So, uh, called the home office, Baltimore. They basically say Trump changed the policy 3 days ago, but won't give me the policy or number. Horrible service, Indiana home office. Yeah, not sure what policy did he change a few days ago. Yeah, I didn't see anything necessarily. Obviously, he's making Social Security employees return to the offices, which okay, fine, but it's not going to improve customer service. It's going to make it worse because a lot of people are going to say, "Well, that was the last straw, and I really, I'm close to retirement. And I don't want to make that drive anymore. And the only reason I'm sticking around helping people file for, with their retirement is because I'm able to work from home. But if I have to do that 20-mile drive, which I did for 40 years, I'm just not going to do it. So I'm just going to bail. I'm just going to go ahead and take my retirement. So there's going to be a lot of people that leave, and then Social Security customer service is going to get worse. And that's the plan, to make Social Security customer service the worst it possibly can be. So people just hate the system and hate Social Security. And then when the politicians come in their white horse and say, yeah, we've got a solution, give it over to Wall Street. And people will say, yeah, can't do any worse than Social Security. And then politicians are like, excellent, y'all fell for our plan, suckers. So I just turned 60, but we're smarter than that. I just turned 62 last year. Oh, and let me on the Bill, tell me what Trump, what policy or whatever. And then before I forget, the person that had the independently entitled divorce spouse benefits, that they said their ex had to be filing for benefits, yet had to be receiving benefits. I am copying and pasting the IEDS, and so I just put it in the chat. It's called IEDS, Independently Entitled Divorce Spouse Benefit. So when you go down to the Social Security Administration again or call up, you've got that reference there. Yes. And that way they can't mess around with you. So I just put it in the chat. Okay. I lost my place there. I'm sorry. So I took a voluntary buyout last September. The company said it was due to a workforce reduction. Yeah, the euphemisms are awesome, aren't they? Workforce reduction. You're fired. Yeah. Chemical. Yeah. And does that qualify as a change of life reduction for Medicare premium? Okay. Yes. Yes. So you are paying the extra Part B premium based on the income related monthly adjustment amount, the extra high premium, high wage earners. But yes, if you stop work or reduce your earnings or something like that from work, that could very well qualify you. You file a SSA 44, a life changing event, and you just put down there, yeah, I was making $20 million 2 years ago, but I just got laid off last week or whatever the case may be. Yes. Um, all right. Here, I'm not going to pop this up there. I avoid company names. My neighbor has a company and it doesn't cost her anything. Is that company part of Medicare supplement plan or something completely different? It is something completely different. It's not a Medicare supplement plan. That is a Medicare Advantage plan. And, you know, again, I always recommend Medicare supplements, but, there is a monthly premium for, that extra awesomeness. Um, so if you can't afford that, then yeah, Medicare Advantage plan is far, far better than nothing. So people say, well, Ed says, always Medicare supplements, and he doesn't really like Medicare Advantage. And no, but I dislike people that don't have anything at all, even more, unless you got a few $1 million sitting under your mattress or something that you can cover all the gaps of original Medicare. If I was dictator for a day, I would get rid of all Medicare supplements and Medicare Advantage, and I would say Medicare, original Medicare that y'all paid for FICA for decades and decades and decades, cover all the gaps. And there's no more gaps in original Medicare, and it includes vision, dental, and hearing and stuff. But yeah, so if I was dictator for a day, right after the cure for male pattern baldness. So sorry, I've got my priorities. It's all about me. Sorry. Okay, so someone answered the same question. Let's see. Somebody, let's see. Yes, the Federalist Society got marching orders from Heritage Foundation, a big welfare queens. Yeah. So guess Project 2025 is alive and kicking. Ed, regardless, if you do, you just Z had a coworker who died at work. He had a stroke, but I get your point. Yeah. Uh, I've had several employees and people that the sweetest couple at Social Security Administration. She retired, and they were just the sweetest couple. And the day he and she retired, he passed away the next day. So yeah, so it's like, wow, you should have retired a few years earlier so you could have got that. But that was their particular situation. But some people, they get meaning out of work and stuff, as long as they don't sacrifice other thing. It's all about a balance, right? So I'll be collecting in August when I turn 70. It sounds like I'll be losing what I waited to gain if they cut benefits. Yes, yeah. If Congress doesn't do anything, and people see, it looks like, yeah, someone already said I'm a fear monger or something like that. I'm don't shoot the messenger. Go into my YouTube description, and you can see the trustees report, Congressional Budget Office, the actuary, and everywhere across the board. We've been saying it. People have been talking about it for decades. Yes, people talking about it for decades, and now people 20 years ago said it's going to run out in 2034, 2035, and guess what? Yes, time has flown, and now it is upon us. But Patricia, I know you're going to contact your politicians, your two senators, your House of Representatives, go on social media, whatever the case may be, and let's make sure that doesn't happen, and make sure they don't give it over to Wall Street. And some people are like, no, it should be given to Wall Street, but I'm not one of those. So I have never, ever, ever for decades, I said, don't take that into consideration. We and our politicians, our representatives will solve it, and we won't get the cuts. So don't even think about that. I've changed my tune in the last year because we're at the precipice. We've got, yeah, it's it's the reckoning is here, and we've got no one to blame but ourselves. 100%, no one to blame but ourselves. I'm a surviving spouse with his DAC that is not my biological kid. I have guardianship. He lives with me. I take full care of him. My local office tells me since I'm not biological, I don't qualify. DAC gets survivors. Were you not sure what do you mean by not surviving spouse with DAC that is not my so, but were you married to him? So are you talking about child and care benefits? You want to file for child and care benefits because you're taking care of his child that is receiving disabled adult child benefits. Yeah, if you were married and then I would definitely fight that one. Um, Remember, a Social Security office telling you X, Y, and Z has no relevance. If you disagree with it, you say, okay, in your particular case, okay, I understand the words coming out of your mouth, but I want a formal decision. So, in order to get a formal decision, you file a claim. So, if you're talking what I think you're talking about, a child in care, surviving child in care claim, you file a surviving child in care claim. And then they will adjudicate it and they will send you a letter, an actual letter, a decision letter, and it'll say you were denied because of this policy, X, Y, and Z policy. And then if you disagree with it, then you file an appeal. On the end of the decision letter, it'll give you your appeal rights, an SSA 561. Very easy to appeal. So yes, please, yeah, let us know how that goes. So call up and tell them you want to file for surviving child and care benefits. They'll set up an appointment. You do it, and you'll get your decision letter. And then, yeah, please come back here and let us know how it goes. Gail, I'm retired. Is there a limited amount that you can receive of your Social Security? In other words, is there a cutoff amount you can receive? Yeah, $5,108 is the max anybody can receive on Social Security. That's if you paid the maximum for 35 years and you waited until you're 70 years old and got those full delayed retirement credits. Let's see. Okay. Might want to talk about how Elon Musk is messing with Treasury Department. Yep, I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. I can't get burial assistance to my deceased husband. I live a message on Messenger FU Manila said on death lump sum I get burial assistance is not. Yeah, the lump sum death benefit that's the $255. It's been $255 for decades. It's embarrassing. By popular demand, um, people have been asking about burial insurance and filing expense. Most people don't need it. If you've got, $10,000, $20,000 of, money or something in the bank, then you don't really need burial insurance. But if you don't, and you want to leave your loved ones some money to, you know, do the thing and pay off, debts or whatever the case may be, then I have found a place that can help you out. So you can call that number right there, 816-665-5025, and they can give you a quote on burial insurance in your particular area. So burial insurance, there's just some really scammy places out there, and so people were getting scammed. So I'm like, okay, I'll find some place that will treat you all right, and so those guys do. So, but if they don't, let me know. I'm keeping an eye on all these guys, and yeah. Thanks for encouraging me to apply for my spouse benefits. Retired at age 70, but fell into WEP and told not to apply for spouse benefits. Will it be retro to January 2024? Yes. We really need to get people out there based on the Social Security Fairness Act. There's a lot of people that don't need to do anything because they've already got, they're already receiving their benefits. It's just been wept and now it's going to be unwept. But there's a lot of people out there that never filed because they figure, well, I'm not going to get any money anyway. Those people, there just might be some money there. So, yes. And yes, Sherry, it will be retroactive to January 2024. Maybe not your particular case, but if that applies to you, then yes, back to January 2024. So, convert federal retirement to Social Security. Yeah, they did that in the early 1980s. The old civil service retirement system that didn't pay into Social Security and politicians didn't pay into Social Security either. That all changed in the early 1980s, and all new employees since then have paid into federal employee retirement system, which is a retirement system, and they also pay into Social Security. So, how long after I file for retirement benefits before I can file for my son under 18? Is it after I'm approved or after I start receiving checks? No, you should have filed at the exact same time. The claim specialist that took your retirement claim, if you did it over the phone, then they did not do the right thing. As soon as you said, they should have asked you, do you have any children under the age of 18? Do you have any children that became disabled before the age of 22? You can hear I've asked that question about a billion times. And then as soon as you said yes, you would have probably heard a on the phone because that means they have to take another claim and they've got like 10 other people waiting to take claims. And now it's going to take them, they're only given 30 minutes or 45 minutes for your particular claim. Now it's going to, yeah, anyway. So we need to support Social Security so they can do the right thing. But yeah, the claim specialist at that time should have taken the claim for your son. So call Social Security and make sure they start your son's benefits the same month that they start your benefits. So and then um, de- you might have to file a representative payee application. You're the person ultimately responsible for the funds, but if the child is 16, 17, 18, maybe give the money to them and they can do it, whatever the case may be. But anyway, um, Meetup helped me a lot. Oh, yes, yes. Okay, walking with a friend helps. Yes, yes. I was going to talk about that, but got sidetracked. Health, yeah, you can't talk about health. I'm actually talking about actual health. So walking and stuff. I've got my little thing, and like I did my 10,000 steps yesterday. Walking with a friend, meetup. Yes, we are social animals. There was a Harvard study that was done over like 30 or 40 years. And they concluded that one of the most important things about longevity is social interaction. So, whatever, there's thousands of groups on Meetup and stuff like that. Find something that you like, volunteer and help. And yeah, that's the number one thing for, living a good, fulfilling life is doing it with other people that you like being around. But um, a community is not the same as a lifestyle enclave. Yeah, there's a Robert Bella, Habits of the Heart, great book, phenomenal book. That he says a lifestyle enclave is just like a homeowners association, gated community. You're just around other people that are just like you, and you say forget about the rest of the community. A community is people with all walks of life. Or rich people and poor people and disabled people and athletes, and that's a community. So yeah, be part of a community. Just don't be kind of locked up with people that think like you and look like you. And I was about to go into Eminem there, wasn't I? But anyway, I was denied because my green card was stolen and the immigration department won't respond to my letters. Yeah, so this is proof, isn't it? People always say, oh, Social Security is giving money out to illegals. This guy can't get benefits because he can't prove his legal status in the United States. So this is proof, which is 100% correct. So yeah, immigration department is inundated just like every other department and stuff. You just have to keep trying. And then when you get your green card or whatever temporary thing you can get, you take that to Social Security Administration, and they will do a G845 and confirm the validity of that document. So, yeah, all these people out there with all the internet myths about all the Social Security money going to illegals, yeah, it's just distraction. Politicians love to distract us so they can, pick our pockets. I am applying for my own Social Security because my benefit from my ex-husband would basically be the same. Can I check to see if my benefit would be more with him later on? He will continue working. Yeah. So if there's no extra benefits there in the sense of his benefit amount is twice your benefit amount, then regardless of the fact, you have to file for benefits on your own record. So you file for benefits on your own record, and then if his benefit amount is twice yours, over twice yours, then you file for benefits on his. But it sounds like it's not. But yes, Beth, you are doing this correctly. This is another thing that a lot of people miss out on is they they're told by Social Security, oh, there's no more money there, so there's no use in filing. And then 5 years later, 10 years later, that person continues to work and his benefit goes up, and now there's money there. But you have in your head that you're not entitled to those benefits. And people always complain when I use the word entitled. Get a dictionary. There's two definitions of the word entitled, and this is an appropriate definition of that. Anyway, again, politicians, distracting us with, definitions. It's crazy. We're such suckers for falling for their traps. And the same type of thing for survivor benefits. Beth, you go in there and you said, hey, am I entitled to, can I get any money off my ex-spouse's record? And they look at it and they say, no. And There are thousands, tens of thousands of people out there that just heard that, and then they go on with their lives. And what happens is yours, because that person is still alive and kicking, yours has to be less than half of theirs. But a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 28 years down the line, people pass away. And then it's no longer the 50% mark, it's 100%. So there's unbelievable amount of people walking around out there that are eligible for benefits that just don't know because they were told at one time 5 or 10 years ago that they can't get any more money on that record. So please, yes. So in your case, can't get any now, but yeah, check again in 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And what you do is just call Social Security and say, "Hey, I want to file for spouse benefits," and they'll look at the numbers and they'll say, "Sorry," and you say, "Okay, bye. Call you in a few more years. See if maybe I'll send him a letter, tell him to work harder." All right, we are over an hour, and let's see. Let me grab one more near the bottom here that I don't think I've ever. Christopher, I don't think I recognize Christopher. How much often does Social Security update my income amount for an increase in Social Security payments? Okay, good question. Every year. So obviously they update it based on the COLA if you're currently receiving benefits, or even the calculations are increased because of COLA. And another way is if you paid into Social Security and that's one of your high 35 years. So here we are at tax season coming up. You file your taxes, you send it to your buddies at the IRS. The IRS notifies Social Security that Christopher paid X amount of money last year. And then Social Security will look at it and say, "Hey, is this one of Christopher's high 35 years of earnings?" If it is, they kick out the low one, stick in that new one, recalculate, and your benefits are increased. And that happens every year, 100% automatically once you file your taxes. All right, that is it for today.